and understand how to play with the horse's nature, not work against it. There's nothing you can't do when he becomes a part of you.
Welcome!
Tonight is about the world of possibilities with horses. About the world of possibilities. All of what you've seen so far is about communication. And the art of riding is about communication. It's about the ability to be able to communicate with horses in a way that they can understand. Karen's always got such a great line of saying it is up to the human to understand the horse language. It is not up to the horse to understand the human language. That's our goal. The first thing is language. We have to develop a language with horses. That's our job. We have to develop a language. And if we think about our world, when I say our world, eventing, dressage, jumping, naturally, how many people in here take lessons from a lot? Yeah, quite a lot. How many times do we think that in your instructor, that instructor spends his time saying, this is what the horse is doing. This is what the horse needs to do. He needs to be more engaged. He needs to come through. He needs to be more balanced. How many of those instructors at that point say, what is the horse thinking? Because if we can get into what he's thinking, then what he's doing follows. And it is our job to understand a language. And it is the biggest weakness that I find, that I think happens, is people like me and Karen, is that we learn how to compete before we learn how to ride, and we learn how to ride before we develop a language with the horses. And what we want to try to get across is that we want you to develop a language, then ride, then compete. And to start that process, and we can start that process of language with horses. You ever seen two horses out in the field playing with each other? Right, they run and they're biting here and they're biting here and they're doing all that kind of stuff, and they sit there like that. Yeah? I've always thought, I wonder if I could be the other horse. I wonder if I turned my horse out in the paddock by himself. I wonder if I could be the other horse. Because we ask to be the other horse. Because we take horses out of a social environment. We take them out of a herd. We put them in stalls. We put them in paddocks by themselves. We take their social environment away from them. And so we are their social environment. We have to be leaders of their herd. And we have to start to learn how to develop a fun language that we can use for everything that we're going to do. We start to work with these little games that we do that everybody can learn. Pat's got these 7 games that are based on how horses work with each other. You ever seen horses go after each other, right? They'll go after their hind end like that. You know, hey, I'm going to get you, I'm going to get you. You know, and they can do the same thing with the front end, right? They got a little spot like there, and then they say, go on, yeah? You know, I'm going to get there, I'm going to get there, and you see horses go away, yeah, and then back. And so we can start to use these games, yeah, the way to develop a language. So pretty soon, you get that look of having horse look at you and say, what? What do you want me to do? That's the thing that we're always looking for, is that when we jump, cross country, show jumping in here, we want the horse to look at us and say, what? We think of these things as puzzles. Do I give them tools to solve that puzzle? Do I give them the communication to solve that puzzle? Can I do those things that Karen talked about? Can I hold the line? Can I hold the speed? And then give him the tools to be able to solve the puzzle that's out in front of him. That's one of the biggest things that we're always looking for, is the horse to look at you and say, what? And you say, that. Okay. And that doesn't make a difference if it's a corner. That doesn't make a difference if it's a water. Those are the games that we start to play. So pretty soon you see that with Taylor, that no matter where I go, he's kind of looking and saying, yeah, we'll dance here. You know, we can start to have that type of communication with him. Yeah? So very quickly, very subtly, we can start playing games and start to influence his world so that he can solve those puzzles. First time we've been jumping online for almost 12 years now, I think. Had a guy named Gene Lewis. Gene Lewis is from Murphy, Idaho. I was out in Salt Lake City teaching a clinic, and this guy just won the Pegasus Medal of Honor from the AHSA, USA Equestrian. this year. And he's a big jumper guy who's, you know, Jimmy Williams. Anybody heard of Jimmy Williams? Yeah, so he was kind of Jimmy Williams' counterpart out there, out in California. And so the first time I ever see Gene, he's sitting on a cow pony, right? His cow pony. And he's got a horse on the end of a line, on the end of a rope. And he is going down there, and he is jumping these fences that are 4'3" with this horse at the end of a rope. No rider, no nothing. Horse goes, looks at the fence, goes ping like that, ears and eyes to the fence. And I was like, I got to know about this. I got to find out about this. And so we worked with him, and he opened the door to me. I was classically trained by some of the best coaches in the world, and he opened a door to communication, to getting wonder if I can get my horse to think. If I can get him to solve it, then all I have to do is sit there and look nice, like that, you know? That's our job. So it opened up a whole world, and we played around with it for 10 years, and then made Pat and Linda. And the interesting thing, the fascinating thing I think about the Parellis is they are tremendous, tremendous horsemen. No question. Unbelievable horsemen, as you will see tonight, I can guarantee you. But the really cool thing is they have a system that you can learn. They have set it up in a way that everybody can understand it. It's not some mystical snake oil thing. You don't have to like do the cross and the incense and all that kind of stuff. I mean, this is real thought out of a way that everybody can communicate with their horses. And we believe in the competition world, as we have said from the beginning, that people learn to compete before they learn how to ride, and they learn how to ride before they learn the language of horses. Is that I have learned over the last 10 years that there is a tremendous application into our world. There is a tremendous application. We jump all of our horses on cross country, banks, ditches, waters, all that kind of stuff on the end of a line. We teach our horses to jump by themselves before we sit on them. And I can guarantee you that I have learned more about horses in a round pen than anything that I have ever done in my life. And I've had some of the most exciting times, and you all know we've been to some places that have been a little exciting. Some exciting times with horses in a round pen. For them to understand, for them to look at you, for them to get that kind of communication that is so great with all of these horses. So these are some of the games we start to play, right? How subtle can I be? I wonder if I move like that. I wonder if I wonder if I just do this, whether he'll back up. I wonder if I just move this way, whether he'll come. And without a lot of pulling, right? Because one of the things that you learn right off the bat, if they pull on this in a rope, right, they'll pull on you. Yeah, when you're riding with a bridle, okay? And you see how soft that is. So we can even make him work quite hard, very, very softly. Again, holding the rope just on my finger.
Pretty cool.
So that's the type of communication, right? What type of communication can I have? Yeah? What can I do? And the interesting thing, anybody notice something about his frame? Vertical flexion, yeah? No side reins, nothing. Vertical flexion, okay? By the way that he works, okay? So we start to play around with these games, and they really do become kind of a lot of fun to start to play. So to teach your horse to go ahead and start to jump by himself online. Yeah? Think about your confidence. If you see horses do it on their own. Whoop. And start, the thing about this is that you, kind of fun, huh? And this becomes a game, right? And that's one thing that you're going to hear a lot tonight, is about the difference between working your horse and the difference between playing with your horse. Do you know how much fun it is for me to sit here and do this? Custom made Olympic gold medalist, badminton winner, Kentucky winner, the whole deal, right? I mean, he has been... Okay, trivia question. How old is he? 17 years old. 17 years old and running around a 4-star. So, and look at him. You know, I mean, he's 17 going on 3. Good man. So you start to play these games with horses, yeah? And you think about the same thing, right? That we can do going cross country, yeah? That we can do here in show jumping, that we can jump ditches, we can jump waters, we can do all this kind of stuff. That this communication that we have, and if you look in his eye, right? He thinks this is more fun than I think it is. Of how much fun and games these all become, whether you're talking about cross country, whether you're talking about show jumping, or whatever you're going to talk about, even if you're going to cut cut cattle, to me those are puzzles. They're all the same. Is that we think that they're puzzles. They're just puzzles to solve. And can I get my horse to understand what puzzle I want him to be able to do? So that very quickly, he doesn't think that I'm a threat in any way. Okay? He doesn't think that I'm a threat, and that everything that I'm going to do with him is going to be along the lines of a game. And it all starts from here. It all starts by developing a language. And if we can develop that language, and we can develop that type of confidence that a horse will go solve that puzzle by himself, then it makes all of our jobs easier. Karen referred to something at the beginning. She said, our job is to make it easy for them. Well, that's making it easy for them. And if you think, God, I would love, who would love to be able to play with a horse like that? Yeah.
Yeah. It's amazing.
And one, it's really doable. Yeah? It's really doable. And it's that type of situation that we believe gives you confidence, gives you safety, gives you pleasure, and gives you that type of communication, which is, to me, the most magical part about what we do.
Savvy is something that some people are born with. I can't say it was me. I might have had a propensity to know how to be good with horses, but I didn't know. I didn't know which end of these horses drank out of the trough, and I didn't inherit it. My father's from New York City. My father was the 2-time Golden Glove champions of New York lightweight division, 2 times all-service champion, rated second in the world about 1953 or 4. He doesn't know which end of the horse drinks out of the trough. So how did I get good with horses? I got good with horses by hanging around people who had savvy. And I've never had a real job. The neat thing is I started hanging around people that had savvy. The problem is, it takes a long time to do it like that. That's the problem. It takes a long time to hang around people who've got savvy, because most of those guys live out somewhere up on a mountain somewhere. Most of the guys that I learned from were people that needed horses for a living. You heard David O'Connor say something about that. Needed a horse for a living. Yeah, just not eat that there. And I started noticing things around guys that were good around horses. First of all, the horses followed them. I thought that's pretty cool. Who'd think it'd be pretty cool if your horse followed you? Wouldn't that be neat? How many people here would like to have your horse come running to you like Roy Rogers' horse? Wouldn't that be cool? Oh man, I'm so proud to be wearing this jacket tonight, folks. It says right here, experience the future of training. Tonight we want to present to you, as an opportunity to you, an exciting concept. The concept that the O'Connors and the Parellis have got a combined project in mind, because we got the same philosophy. All 4 of us believe that love, language, and leadership in equal doses equal lightness. And when I mean lightness, folks, I mean so light that one little hair could lead your horse backwards. Who'd like to have your horse this light? You see, lightness comes from the same, well, it happens in the beginning when a mare has a foal, and that foal synchronizes with the mare mentally, emotionally, physically. When I started learning a natural way with the horse, that my horse started synchronizing with me on the ground. When I walk slow, see, it's just like the mare in the foal. When the mare walks slow, the baby walks slow. When the mare walks fast, the baby walks fast. When the mare trots, the baby trots. And when the foal canters, the mare canters, foal canters. You see, this is something I can teach you. This is the most exciting thing. You know why? Because if we can figure out, unlock, and learn the secrets to success with horses, we can unlock the secret to success with all relationships, because the horse is a prey animal, the human is a predator, and the dichotomy there, the distance between the ultimate predator and the ultimate prey animal is so great that if we can figure it out, if we can get our horses to want to be with us as bad as they wanted to be with their mama, and if we can get our horses to synchronize with us mentally, emotionally, and physically, we can just get this synchronicity going. There's some exercises. Let me see if I can get you to understand why. It's pretty simple. The horse has got 2 sides of the brain. The right side of the brain is the prey animal side of the brain. The left side of the brain is the partnership side of the brain. When a horse has 3 major instincts: to be perceptive to danger, fly from fear, and be gregarious. When a horse gets scared, perceive something that's dangerous, really dangerous, like a piece of plastic. Who has ever seen a horse deathly afraid of a piece of plastic? Well, when they do that, they make this noise. Who's ever heard a horse go? That means he's scared to his brain. Then it goes down his spine, and then it goes to his tail and goes. And then his legs start moving like this, and your hat tips up like this, and you're thinking, oh my God. Human beings, when we get afraid, we go like this. And most of us don't go. Luckily, what we do is we go. But I want you to understand, it starts here, and then it goes down our spine, and it goes into the hole under our tail. I want to show you what this looks like in reverse when you see someone get scared. This gets tight. This, whatever these cheeks do, these cheeks do. Whatever this hole does, this hole does. I've seen some people get so scared around horses, and And you could not pull a turkey feather out of there with a John Deere tractor, man. I've seen that thing just, whoa. I've seen people have a hold of a lead rope of riding a horse. Horse gets scared, plastic. They go like that, and the horse goes, oh my God, even scared my predator. I've seen people hanging onto a lead rope, and all of a sudden the horse takes off, and they go, and they just let that rope zip through that. And then they go, ha, like this. But let me show you in slow-mo what this looks like. Ha. In that order. These hands will not open until this opens. If we can get the horse, if we can get that horse in synchronicity with us, where everything, see, there's nothing you can't do if the horse becomes a part of you. And when I saw David and Karen O'Connor riding their horses, I saw that special thing that people can't put their finger on. What is different about them? How many people have noticed there's something different about them? It's a thing called good old-fashioned horsemanship. Do you know what David's first claim to fame was? Him, his brother Brian, and his mother, Sally. They rode across the United States on horseback from Maryland all the way to the West Coast. Did you guys know that? And it was documented in magazines. David didn't know he was going to be famous. I think he was 11 years old. He showed me some pictures the other day, and he was always, Mom and Brian up there in front, David back there about 30 yards. He didn't know he was going to be David O'Connor. He was just David O'Connor. Here's the deal. See, we're not telling anybody we're eventers, we're good eventers, or jumpers, or dressage people, or reiners, or cutters. What we are good cake makers. We're the cake. We've got a program that's the cake, the foundation. David and Karen have got a program that's the icing. Do you know how many horses out there are so overtrained in an arena today that it's trying to be held together with the icing, and it all falls apart when you got to go do something for real, when you got to go out and just go on a trail ride, when you've got so many horses that are beautiful on the outside and terrible on the inside. If you can get your horse everything you want him to do, everything you want to do, if you can get him to do it on the ground first, if you can get your horse to where he's synchronized with you. But no, most people, the horse jumps up and he's out of there. Raise your hand if you've ever been bucked off before. All that happened was you got out of synchronicity. See, that's all that happened. And folks, don't use your reins to stop. Do this. Use your reins if he doesn't stop. See how she didn't stop like I wanted? So I say, hey, don't do that. So what I do is I go along and I say, and if she doesn't stop like I want, then I back her up. I don't use the reins. See, I don't trust. I trust that she'll respond, but I'm ready to correct. Not more one than the other. So then pretty quick, she stops when I stop. Look at it, even rides backwards when I ride backwards. Hey, Magic. And don't use your reins to turn. Use your reins if they don't turn. So like if I turn over here with my eyes and my belly button, let's say I turn over here like this, and she turns. Don't use the reins. Use the reins if she doesn't turn. I want you to start experimenting with some of this stuff. And then, the last thing is when it's time to dance with your horse. How many people saw that movie, Kevin Costner's Dances with Horses? Who saw that movie? Huh? Then what I want you to do is I want you to use those reins only for dancing, not for control, because you wear your horse's mouth out. Raise your hand if you've ever had a horse with a hard mouth, ridden a horse with a hard mouth. Come on, get them up. Where do you think them mouths come from? Because you remember when they were little bitty babies, they had them little tender. Who's ever felt a little bitty baby's tender's mouth? Huh? Every horse in the world. Come from hard hands, come from pulling them to stop, come from micromanaging them, came from riding them on the bit. It came from doing things like, we have ways of making you get your head in and down. And riding around like your ankles are sore and you have a corn cob. This is what makes horses hard. So if I could I just ride her for you and just dance with her a little bit? Just so maybe you can see Can you just maybe take a moment here and see what's possible? Like David said, the possibilities. This is what tonight's about, the possibilities. Dancing with horses.
Para bailar la bamba, se necesita una poca de gracia, pa' mi patria. Y arriba, ay arriba, por ti seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Yo no soy marinero, soy capitán, soy capitán, soy capitán. Bamba, 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 bamba. Para bailar la bamba, necesito una poca de gracia pa' mi patria. Y arriba, y arriba.
The idea of the future of training is all about putting a foundation, building the cake first. These exercises, I promise you right here, if you can learn levels 1 through 3 in our program and then get into competition, I promise you all the problems you think you've ever been having, all the lead changes, all that kind of stuff, is just going to go away. It's a promise that Pat plans to prove. You did not really come here to see how good Pat Parelli was with horses, I promise you. You came here tonight to see if Linda and Pat Parelli and if David and Karen O'Connor have got a program that is so effective and so simple that even adults can do it. That's what you came here for, so that's what we're here to prove to you tonight. I'm going to ask you a question. How many people here have ever watched a video and as soon as you go outside to the corral, into the arenas, and you want to remember what step number 8 was, you can't remember? Raise your hand if you've ever... We've all done this. Here's what Linda came up with. Her and her sister came up with this idea of putting it together step by step, and putting these little things you can put right in your top pocket. It's real durable. It's got over 200 pictures, and this is just level 1. It's got like all the little things. Like for example, I'd like to show you, share things with people and tell people that, the right rein is connected to the right front foot, and the left rein is connected to the left front foot. And I try to tell people that, so when you back up, use the left, then the right, and the left in synchronicity with the horse's feet. You don't just pull back on them. And when you want to turn your horse, you might go left, right, 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 left. That's how you do that. But to show you exactly how to do that, Linda put it down in all these little booklets. 20 lessons in each pack, and we have 3 levels. Tonight, what you've seen Linda and I do are basically levels 1 through 3. Who would like to be this good with horse, have this much foundation, huh? All right? basically how this system works is that, like the Spanish riding school in Vienna. Who's heard of the Spanish riding school in Vienna? Linda and I have been invited 3 times by the head rider, Arthur Kodas, to come sit in the royal box, to spend the day and the evenings with them, and watch the pre-training in the morning. Because I don't know if you know this, they start at 10 o'clock for the public, but at 6 o'clock in the morning, they start with the young stallions. And the reason he invited us, because in his spare time, in his afternoons and on the weekends, Arthur Kodas gives lessons all around Austria, Switzerland, Bavaria, and he's been giving lessons to some of my students. And he said, I can't believe these folks with orange sticks and wiggling ropes are such good students. They are so easy to teach dressage. He said, and I wanted to see who is this cowboy, my carrot stick, who is this cowboy who is going around teaching people to do things on the ground with the horses first. See, teaching the horses this on the ground is what they do in the Spanish riding school, don't they? How many people have ever seen them do that in the Spanish riding school? This is how the system works. What we're going to do is we're going to teach you first to do some things like a dog on a leash. How many people have ever done leash training with a dog? Anybody here ever done that? Okay. Then what we're going to do, after your horse gets good at that, you're going to do like Linda did and get your horse to do it at liberty. This is how the system works. And once you get your horse to do enough things like that, that's the proof that your horse is using the partnership side of his brain. You see, if you take off the halter and the lead rope and you ride like Linda did with no bridle and saddle, there's only one thing left: the truth. How many people know what the truth is? What would happen if you got on your horse without a bridle and a saddle? Huh? How would you like to change that truth? All right. Now the next part of the equation, thank you so much, is what we call freestyle riding. Freestyle riding is when you teach your horse gross motor skills, and it goes like this. When a mare teaches her foal to turn, she uses her neck. And so what we use is we use this very stiff stick, just like a neck, and we teach the horses to move away from the stick. We teach them even to back up with the stick. We teach them, just like a mare does, how to just do gross motor skills, little simple things like maybe to turn, you know, and you could turn and 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 turn. You know, little simple things like that. Then after you've got your horse doing freestyle riding, where your horse will do simple things like stop without touching the reins, back without touching the reins, side pass without touching the reins. Once your horse basically can do that, then we're going to teach you what's called the fourth savvy. And we're going to do this one last. The fourth savvy is finesse. When you ride, and with all my life, I've been taught you must have light hands. How many people have heard about light hands? Your horses are begging for this, folks. We're going to teach you all this stuff, folks. Then David and Karen O'Connor, if you're interested in writing English, whether it's competitive or not, are going to teach you the finer points. This is what we call level 4. Same thing with Leon Harrell. If you're interested in cutting, we're the cake. They've got the chocolate icing. He's got the vanilla. So what we'd like to do, do you like vanilla? You want the vanilla? I thought you wanted spice cake. So what we thought we'd do is have a little discussion about how these 7 games we've learned to use them not only on the ground, but also on a horse's back.
One of the things that has fascinated me about all of horse training is about body language. That's what the horse understands, is body language. And when you apply that body language and you learn the steps of how to use that body language, of using your body in an obvious way to the same way, being more and more subtle over time, that you learn these games, that is how we end up with horses that can jump around the things that you're going to see tomorrow. It's about body language. When you see Pat, just a great pee-off, right, and with string around the neck, right, no bridle, no real restriction, yeah, that's about body language. And the system that is being set up here, it teaches you not only how to use your body, right, starting on the ground, but what reactions expect, why to expect it, why does the horse think that way, why do we ask in this order? That's the key to it, to me, when we're doing dressage, whether we're doing liberty, it's all about our body language, and that's how our communication is. And that's the only thing. And I think a lot of people miss that. I think they think, I need restrictive aids. No, it's about how you use your body, and that's how we communicate with horses.